Test, test, test. Welcome back to another video. Now we are more than halfway through 2022. How time flies, eh? It's just like firing, you know. I'm going to be like 60 and tomorrow at this rate. And I thought what would be a good idea now would be to take a look at the platinum trophies I've earned in 2022 and rank them. So I recently created a new reviewing system which goes very much on brand for me. Bronze, silver, gold, platinum. So this is how I'm going to be reviewing my games going forward. If a game gets a platinum score, it basically means that they get my seal of approval. I think they're phenomenal games and really top of the genre that they're in. Gold means that they're really, really good games and most people will still really enjoy them and they're definitely still getting my recommendation. And then we've got the silver and the bronze. Silver's kind of like, some people will enjoy this game, but most people will find issues with it, and bronze is just dud games I personally cannot recommend to anybody for whatever reason. So I thought I would go through this with all of my games of 2022, and there isn't a lot of them, I have to say. I've actually only earned 7 platinum trophies in 2022, and we're almost at July. Like, I need to up my game. So the first game I earned the platinum trophy in was Untitled Goose Game, and I earned that platinum on the 2nd of February, so it took me like, you know, over 4 weeks to actually earn my first platinum. I was working on Ghost of Tsushima, the DLC, which was so long. The game was so long. I was working on that for, you know, big chunks of January, which is why it took me so long to get to my first platinum, because Untitled Goose Game is not a long game. You can platinum this game in probably around 7 to 8 hours, and if you're a good gamer, probably 5. It obviously took me 10, but it can be done, and it's a really fun game. You take control of this goose and all you do is just run around and cause carnage within this little neighborhood. It's really funny, and every area has little challenges that you have to do, like steal a farmer's hat, tie some kid's shoelaces to make them fall over, scare somebody, break vases, break statues, pretend to be a statue. It's really crazy. It's really just very funny to play, and not only that, this game can be played completely in 2-player couch co-op, not online but couch co-op. If you've got a friend, you can play Untitled Geese Game, and that is even more fun. And you can earn all these trophies in cooperative as well, which is excellent, which makes the game considerably easier. I would say this is probably 4 out of 10, because basically the only trophies you really have to worry about, a lot of it is missable. You have to kind of do certain things, but at the end you have to do speed trials, and the AI is the only thing that makes this a little bit frustrating towards the end, because AI, it just does what it wants. And basically what happens is, rather than them being a free-flowing AI, it's kind of like if you interrupt the AI by doing something, it kind of breaks them, and it takes them a few seconds to go back to their actual movement patterns, which actually can be really difficult when you're doing it for time. But if you have a friend to do it, this will be such a cakewalk, because you can be doing so many of these things together. That doesn't take away from how fantastic this game is, and because of that, I'm actually going to award Untitled Goose Game the Platinum Award. It's going to be the first, it's going to get a platinum review score, because I think it's so fantastic. I don't think anybody could pick this game up and not have a good time with it. If you don't have a good time in this game, I would question your insanity, because it is just so quick, so funny, and you have a great time in it. Like I said, you can do it in co-op, but I did the platinum by myself. I did about half the game with a friend, just, you know, playing the game, and then I did the rest by myself, and I had just as much fun doing both ways. And yeah, you know what, some of the challenges towards the end took me, you know, an hour to do the certain speed runs because of the AI, but on a whole, it's just such a fantastic game, and I'm telling you, you will like this game. Okay, next is Awesome P2. Now this game is not a great game. I only played this game because I started this Platinum League in my Discord around about that time, because I earned this one on the 7th of February, and basically I wanted a quickish game to get some points on the board for my team. Had to represent PlatinumBros, and that was the name of my team. How original? Yes, I know. I'm a very creative person, if you didn't already know this. So I got this game, and it's just a side-scrolling £4 game made by one of those really cheap developers. You get developers that make, you know, all the easy platinum trophies, and it's a 3 out of 10 difficulty. Now, it's not a really quick platinum. It took me about 3 to 4 hours to do, so it's not ridiculously quick, and it's not ridiculously easy. There's some skill there for platforming that is required to finish this game, because I did find, out of the maybe 30 to 40 levels, 4 or 5 of them did test my patience, and I spent maybe 25 minutes on some of the levels. I'm a bad gamer, and I'm a terrible platformer, so I wouldn't say this is easy at all. It isn't hard though either. You know, it's very much the lower level of some skill required, but not a great deal is how I would describe this game. The game itself is it's a platformer. You know, are they fantastic games anymore? I feel like we've evolved past this for the big games. That's why there isn't many platforming games other than maybe Crash Bandicoot still around. It very much feels like a retro game but not necessarily a great one. It's not really a memorable game. Would I recommend it to the average person? If you don't like platformers, then no. If you like big AAA games, I wouldn't recommend this one. If you like platformers, I'd probably say there's more detailed, better platformers out there. I don't think this game is particularly strong in any category, so because of that, I'm actually going to give it, sorry Awesome P, you're getting the bronze rating. My third platinum of 2022 was Alien Fireteam Elite. What a game this is. This is a third-person shooter PvE game where in the Alien universe, you just go through these levels. There's few of them, there's quite a few levels, and it gets very, very difficult. You have to play the game on all 4 difficulties to get the Platinum Trophy, and it's a 9 out of 10 on PSNP, and I agree with that scoring. I don't quite think it's a 10 out of 10, but I do think it's the hardest platinum I've ever done myself. People won't understand how much of a big issue this is. There's friendly fire in this game, and it's not just like 10%, and the hardest difficulty, it is full 100% friendly fire damage. And when your guns are doing like 400 damage per shotgun round, and you have 1500 health, if someone walks in the way of one of your guns, you can pretty much down them, and it takes so long to revive someone, and you only get 4 or 5 seconds to revive somebody on the hardest difficulty. Pretty much if someone goes down by one of your shots, like the run's over, and you have to finish 12 levels, and the levels and the hardest difficulty are between 45 minutes and an hour, and it involves maybe 8 to 10 different sections which you have to learn, and if you die once, you have to start again. It is really, really unforgiving, and there's so much tactics involved because every scenario you encounter is just so different. You may be defending a point, you may be making your way through, and the hardest ones are when you're defending open areas because you become swarmed so quickly by the enemies because you have aliens. We have loads of different types of aliens, and they're also difficult for such different reasons, but the alien sections can be cheesed with a bit of intelligence because you can kind of funnel enemies through certain corridors. That's pretty much what a big bulk of the game is, learning the maps and finding the funnel points to try and get the enemies to charge you, but it doesn't work when you have ranged enemies in it. It really doesn't work with the synths because they take cover, they fight just like you, and they have so much goddamn health. But despite the difficulty, the gun mechanics are clean, the game looks great. It's just such a rewarding game on the PlayStation 5. It runs like trash on the PlayStation 4, like 22 frames per second. It is staggering, and there's a lot of glitches in the PlayStation 4 version, which kind of sucks. But on that, it's a fantastic game, and I would recommend it to most people. However, because it's quite specific, and you really do need 2 other people to help you through this game, I can't quite give it the platinum score because I think it's unfair to say to everybody that they should play this game. You need to have friends to really maximize your enjoyment with this game. So because of that, Alien Fireteam Elite, you're getting a gold rating. Still a good game, still gets my recommendation. Next is Hotline Miami. I platinumed this game on the 8th of April 2022, and it took me 6 weeks to earn the platinum trophy in this game, and the guides say it's about a 10 to 15 hour platinum trophy. I really didn't enjoy this one, guys. I've done a full review of this game, which of course you can watch. Quite an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people actually have there's quite a good fan base here for this game, but for me, I just found it so unforgiving and just not a fun game to play at all. And it's an over-the-top, an isometric game. You run around, you pick all these different weapons up, you know, melee, long range, firearms, and there's, you know, it's kind of just like this little gangster, you just run around killing people. That's kind of the game. It's really fast-paced, and in the first couple of hours, I did enjoy it. There's a really big learning curve in this game, and it will hit you at some point. And I say that because some people will struggle really soon on, first 2 to 3 hours, and they'll struggle and they'll get better. But for me, what happened was I finished the main game, and when I finished it, I was like, it's okay. I couldn't recommend it. I don't think it's a great game. It's just okay. However, the Platinum Trophy is really difficult because you have to get high scores on every single level, and these high scores are difficult. They're based on time and weapon variation and weapon executions. There's so much going on. It's really challenging, and you have to learn levels over and over again. And because you can finish levels, if you did them all perfectly, 3 minutes, but you find yourself spending an hour and a half because you have to perfect certain parts. Every single corridor of every single level is slightly different every time, but also you need to perfect it every time, and it's just so fast. And because you die in one hit and enemies die in one hit, you can imagine you're dying and restarting all of the time, and it just weighs on you. And I just didn't think it was a very fun, rewarding gameplay loop because it just didn't give me that satisfaction. I didn't feel like, because there's no upgrades in the game, you just don't feel like you're getting better as you play other than how you play. And for me, that just wasn't enough to really enjoy the game. And unpopular opinion, I didn't like the music, and I know this is a really unpopular opinion because people loved it, but I just found that it was pretty good the first 2 hours. It's like a retro music, kind of arcadey gameplay music, which was kind of cool, but when you play this game for 25-30 hours and you're hearing the same 8 minutes of track, it really grinds on you. And I know this could apply to so many games, and it has applied to so many games that I've spent a lot of time with, But I found because this probably wasn't even an 8-minute track, it was like 45 seconds, and because you're doing the same level over and over again, you just hear the same music over and over again, and the same 2 or 3 minute track over an hour just becomes so tedious. And I had to turn the music off in the end actually for the actual speed runs because I just wasn't enjoying it. And you know what? It's not a bad game, this one, it's just not a great game, and I didn't enjoy it, and it's just not for me. And because of that, I'm actually going to give it quite a low score. I'm actually going to give Hotline Miami a bronze rating, and that's purely because I can't recommend this to any of you watching this video. I just did not like this game at all. I would never play a game like this ever again, and I just wouldn't feel happy telling you to play this game. I know a lot of people did enjoy this game, but for me, it just was not on the cards, and that's why I can't recommend it at all, and that's why it's getting a bronze. Okay, Platinum 5 and 6, because I had to play this game twice, is It Takes Two. This is a game which takes place with two parents who become these little dolls, and it's a fully cooperative game, just like A Way Out. It's made by the same developer as It Takes Two, and it's a really heartwarming experience. You know, you go around, and what I love about this game, is what I loved about A Way Out, is there's so many different game mechanisms in this game. It's not just a case of, okay, it's a third-person shooter, you're going to take cover, you're going to shoot, and you have some abilities. It's like, okay, in this level, you're going to shoot and you're going to work together to defeat something. The next level, you're going to be on a dinosaur. The next level, you're going to be flying around. The next level, you're going to be using ice skates. Next level, you're going to be using different mechanisms that all revolve around teamwork. And I just think it's so clever, and I feel like this game, I know this game won a lot of awards when it came out, and I can totally see why, because the gameplay is so refreshing, so different to anything you really ever played, and the story is good. It's not amazing, it's a very heartwarming story around two people trying to work together when they're struggling with each other's existence, and it's just a good little story, and I think it's a fantastic game. And you do need someone else to play this game with, but you can play it as long as you've got a copy. One of your friends can jump in. They can't earn trophies, but they can jump in, and it's just, you'll have a great time with it. It's such a fantastic game, and for that, I have to recommend it. I have to give It Takes Two a platinum score. It is worth playing for every single person. Okay, the last platinum trophy I ever earned in 2022 is, of course, Outriders. I goddamn love this game. I love this game so much. I want to say firstly, I know this game came out with a lot of problems at launch. It was really not received well by the gamers, and it was not received well by the reviewers. The reviewers really slammed this game hard, and I think it was really unjustified, particularly because the game itself, the first 10 hours, you know, it's a looter shooter game. That's what it is. Third-person looter shooter game with some superpowers, and you just explore this really beautiful world of varying different terrains. And I can see why, if you just played the first 10 hours, you would say it falls a bit flat, because it's a looter shooter game. They've tried with the story, they definitely have, but it's a very underwhelming story. But the gameplay, I think, firstly, is really fun and really rewarding, even in the first 10 hours. But when you get to the end game, when you're playing through all the end expeditions and stuff and leveling up your loot, where the game becomes so addictive. They've really balanced the way they handle their loot system, and I think I've played a lot of looter shooters of late, Diablo 3, Avengers, and I think this is the best looter shooter I've really ever played. I think the way they handle it, you get enough loot to keep you going, but you don't get overwhelmed with loot, which I think a lot of games do, especially Diablo 3. It really overwhelms you with all of this loot constantly, whereas Outriders is kind of like you get a big haul in the end game, a big haul of loot at the end of every 15 to 25 minute level, and you might get 8 guns, which you can decide if they're worth it, if they're not worth it. If not, you sell them, dismantle them, improve your weapons. I just think it's that loop is just so rewarding, and it's 3-player, and it's just so much fun with your friends. It's challenging towards the end. Basically how it works is every expedition becomes harder if you choose to make it harder, and you get better loot. So you have to kind of balance what you want, and then whether or not you and your party can do it, because having more people in the party makes the game so much harder that you can get to pretty much the second highest tier difficulty of the expeditions, the post game, by playing with yourself. And I have to say, I had such a great time with this game, and it's just so much fun, and I think people have been really unfair on it, and I'm really looking forward to the DLC that's coming out very soon. By the time this video comes out, it might even be out, and I haven't been that hyped for DLC in probably my whole life, other than maybe when the Spider-Man 2018 DLC came out. Now, playing it by yourself, it's not as rewarding. You know, I played this game for about 100 hours, and I played about 50 of it by myself, but I was already at the end of the game. I think if I played the game by myself for the first 10 hours, my experience probably would be a little bit soured. But I think if you find some friends, you find someone to play with, you're going to have one hell of a great time. It's a looter shooter, the content just keeps coming. And I think a looter shooter that comes out in 2022 without microtransactions is worth of an applause by itself. But to have such a refined game in Outriders, gameplay-wise, the way it looks, I think it's just something to behold. I actually reviewed this game and I gave it a gold rating when I reviewed this with two of my friends and we decided it was a gold, purely because by yourself it's not a masterpiece, but with friends I think it's very close to being one. So I don't want to give it a platinum again. I think I'm going to stay strong and say, Outriders, you deserve a place on the gold rating. There you have it, guys. There are all the platinums I've unlocked, earned in 2022. Not as many as I thought I would have earned, but you know, sometimes you just get addicted to Outriders and then just stop playing games altogether, and here we are. Let me know down below what you think of the ratings I've given in this video. I'd love to hear. I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.